second part of that question was, what was your success time on local after you studied SEO? Oh, it varied. Let's say recurring 1K to 10K as success. It varied. I mean, I got started doing lead gen because I was a contractor myself. I was an electrical contractor. And so I started learning how to do SEO for my own business. And then I started producing leads for other contractors that I worked with. Like I worked with I was an electrical contractor. So I worked with construction, other types of construction contractors, home construction stuff. And so I started using, generating leads and using assets that I created for testing purposes as I was learning SEO. But I figured, hey, if I'm going to create test assets, right? So properties used for testing, I might as well create stuff that I could monetize. If I'm successful and they generate leads, I could sell the leads to other contractors I worked with, like HVAC or heating and air conditioning contractors, roofers, carpet cleaners, locksmiths. The two sites besides my own electrical contracting site that I started with was carpet cleaners and locksmiths. And so anyways, I did that probably for at least 6 months before I ranked anything. And that was studying. Like I'd go to work all day, like doing electrical work. And then I would come home and I would spend all afternoon or evening studying SEO and building and testing, learning how to do WordPress at the time. And at the time it was called Google Places a long, long time ago. And so it took me 6 months before I got anything ranked. And then it took me probably another 6 months before I consistently was generating leads for some of those other contractors. And I was just selling leads at the time. And actually I wasn't even selling leads. I was renting the sites, like on a rank and rent. And it was ridiculous. This was back in 2011. So some of the sites I was renting out for like $150 a month, which is crazy. But it's crazy. So it wasn't until 2012. I think it was 2012 when I launched my agency. It might've been 2013. I think it was 2012. And then I started going like to land clients, retainer-based clients. And that was because in lead gen, again, I was doing like lead gen for home construction companies. And it's seasonal. And at least in my local area in Virginia, in the winter, construction slows down. It always does. And so I went through 2 years of generating leads or doing rank and rent. Well, I started with rank and rent, but then I progressed up to doing pay per lead. But every winter, my income would drop, my revenue would drop because leads would slow down, if that makes sense. So I launched my agency to learn to get more traditional, like retainer-based clients that paid me a flat monthly fee, and I would optimize their assets. I still prefer lead gen over doing that any day. But it took me probably to get to 1,000 a month. That didn't take long. To get to 5,000 a month, it probably took me every bit of 18 months. And that was just because I was doing it 100% on my own. It wasn't until 2014 that I even started outsourcing anything. The first 2 years of my agency, I did 100% of everything. And it's interesting. We got the time because I know we don't have a lot of questions. But I was in Network Empire. Some of you might be familiar with Network Empire, but it was back when Sue Bell and Russell Wright ran it, and now Matt DeCruz does. But in 2014, they have what they call the Network Empire certification event. And we had Semantic Mastery we had already formed as a company. And in 2014, I went to the certification event. It was a $20,000 event in Scottsdale, Arizona for 3 days, 3-day SEO training event for $20K. And I had been doing all of my own SEO for my agency clients, which was only a handful of them. I was making about maybe $5,000 or $6,000 a month. And then I had my lead gen business. So I was making close to 10K a month, but I was literally working 7 days a week, 12, 13, 14 hours a day. I still do now, but I do it now because of passion. At the time I was doing it because it was like, I was making good money, but I had to work that much to continue making that money. Anyway, the certification event, I got this book, which we give to our mastermind members upon joining. It's called Work the System by Sam Carpenter. Yeah, Sam Carpenter, Work the System. Go to Amazon and look it up. You can buy it on Kindle for I bought it on Kindle for $9. And I bought it right before, again, I was right before the certification event. Which was in 2014. I had been doing everything. and no VAs, no virtual assistants, never outsourced a damn thing. And so I bought this $9 Kindle book called Work the System, and to read on the flight from Virginia to Scottsdale, Arizona, or to Phoenix, the airport in Phoenix. And so I read half the book on the way to the certification event, and I finished the book, read the other half on the way back, the flight back. And I got more from that $9 book, Kindle book, than I did from the $20,000 certification event. I'm not kidding. It had it transformed my business more. I learned a lot at that certification event. I'm not putting Network Empire down at all. I learned a ton. I learned a lot of really cool ninja strategies that I incorporated into my business and everything else. But the effect that $9 book had on changing my mindset about not doing everything myself and learning how to outsource and, delegate work, duplicate myself, and all of that had a much more profound effect on my business than that $20,000 event did. So that's why, Work the System is one of the key kind of books that we push onto our Semantic Mastery Mastermind members, because I think it had, such a profound effect on me. Once I started outsourcing, and learning how to delegate work and everything, like that's where my business really started to grow. And now it's crazy because, again, my link building business, I just started less than 4 months ago, and it's doing really, really well. And I've got a whole team built and it's the same principles that I learned from that Work the System book back in 2014. It's the exact same principles. We actually developed a whole training course called Outsource Kingpin. It used to be called something else, but it's called Outsource Kingpin now, that is built around kind of that methodology. So, what was your success time after you studied SEO? It varies, but once I had a repeatable system in place, and then I started delegating work, like to go from 1K to 10K is not hard if you build systems. If you try to do everything yourself, it's going to be a long haul and it's going to be a lot of work. The most important thing is to find a repeatable process and then just do that, stick to that, right? Because you can duplicate and delegate that. Again, hence the whole Google Business SOP that you guys can get in the mastermind. It's so that you can literally, guys, it's the exact process that I do for SEO for all of my clients and all of my own assets in step-by-step format, so that you can get a VA that knows nothing about SEO and assign the workflow to them, and they can go through and optimize a Google Business Profile exactly the same way that I do, right? So you can duplicate yourself. If you want to go out, what you should be doing as in the digital marketing business, especially in local SEO, is learning how to sell, prospect and sell, right? Prospecting and sales is how you grow your agency, not the fulfillment, because again, you've got third-party providers that can fulfill for you, or you can build your own team using processes, systems and processes, which again, in the mastermind, we give that to you. Here it is. So build your prospecting and sales machine and learn how to sell so you can scale your business. You can go from 1K to 10K a month in a matter of a few short months if you learn how to sell, right? Find a market, get your marketing message right, your sales message right? And then learn how to sell and focus on that, because the fulfillment part is actually easy unless you're doing it all yourself, which is what we don't recommend. So that was a good question, BB, but it's going to vary. It depends on how much hustle you got in you. It depends on your, whether you want to do it yourself. Like most solopreneurs, most entrepreneurs want to do everything themselves. I get it. I've been the same way, but I overcame that. And there are still sometimes that I want to handle everything myself, and it's hard to delegate sometimes, but do it because it's going to help you to grow. So you guys want to comment on that, Chris, at all? Otherwise, I think we should wrap it up.
No, like you did a really good job in explaining this.
Okay.